After all that time killing all the never-ending bosses in this game, it's nice to go for a nice relaxing walk to clear my head. Wait a minute. What the hell is that? Holy shit. Are you okay, brah? Do you require any medical attention? Okay, let's just leave him to that, shall we? Anyway, how you doing guys, and welcome to another Dark Souls 2 video where I'll be offering my tips and strategies on all the bosses. The first boss I'll be taking on is the Prowling Mages and his congregation, and I don't really think there's any tips I can give you for this fight. This guy is ridiculously easy. If you die on him, I think it's safe to say you are the worst game in history. The only real advice I can give you is to take out these two guys right here. They sort of stand either side of him. It isn't necessarily important that you do it, but it will make the fight a little bit easier. Not that you really needed to make it easier to begin with. After you've done that, you can pretty much just whack away at him within a few hits and he'll die. And once he has, just take out what little few remaining enemies there is, and this fight will be over in no time. Seriously, I can't even believe that this made it as a boss fight. But nevertheless, that's another one dead, and we can move on to the next boss, who thankfully is a little bit trickier. Okay, so for the next boss, we'll be moving on to the Duke's dear Freya, who is a giant fucking spider. So if you're an arachnophobic, chances are you're going to have a very bad time fighting this boss. Now, as well as the giant spider boss that you will be fighting, she'll also have a bunch of her babies running around as well. Now, in the original Dark Souls 2, once you killed the baby spiders, they did not respawn. However, this is not the original Dark Souls 2. This is the remastered version, the Scholar of the First Sin. And in this version of the game, the spiders will continuously respawn no matter how many times you kill them. Because of that, you are going to have to change your strategy slightly for this fight. Whereas in the original game, you'll be beneficial to kill the spiders. In this game, it's pretty much pointless. I recommend only killing the baby spiders when you absolutely have to, when they get you overrun, for example. Other than that, I strongly recommend completely ignoring them. It's pointless killing them because they're just going to keep coming back and back. Okay, now the thing about this boss is that you can't just hit wherever the hell you feel like and cause damage. No, she only has 2 points of weaknesses. The first point of weakness is, as you can see on the front, she's got a face. And she also has another face on the rear of her body where her ass should be. Which again, just like I've said in my previous videos about another boss, where the hell did I shit from? Does it come out the other guy's mouth? I don't get it. Anyway, forget about that. The only way you can damage this boss is by hitting one of these faces. Now, she does have a few dangerous attacks. She has that sort of magic attack where she shoots magic from side to side. She tends to only do that when you're far away. Because of that, I strongly recommend staying close to this boss so you won't have to deal with that magic attack. However, when you do get too close to her and start hitting her face, she will use her sort of front pincers to try and swipe at you. Now, this can be hard to dodge because sometimes she will attack straight away with them, and other times there will be a few seconds build up before she takes a swipe. Because it's so random and you never know whether the attack's going to come straight away or there is going to be a little bit of a delay and a little bit of a build up, it can be very hard to know when to dodge. However, if you keep alternating between her faces, move from the front to the back to the front again, you should have no problem. Again, remember, just keep alternating from the front face to the back face to the front face again, and you should have this fight over with in no time. Okay, so that's another boss dead, and now we can move on to the next one. Okay, so the next boss that I took on was Elena, the Squalid Queen. And this boss is actually the very first boss in the DLC maps of this game. Now, if, like me, you are playing the Scholar of the First Sin Remastered Edition, then all the DLC is included in this game. So you won't have to pay any extra to play it, it's included in the game. And this is the first boss from that trilogy of DLCs, and I don't mind saying, she is a right fucking bastard. Now, she has some very dangerous magic moves. She sort of conjures up these fireballs, and these can be incredibly hard to dodge because they sort of follow you around the arena. So if you're running to the left, the fireball will spawn to the left, the direction you're running in. And it will hold there for a few seconds, and then it would explode out, and it's very hard to dodge. It's also very powerful. But what makes this fight even harder is that every now and then she will conjure up a different set of enemies. Now, if you're lucky, like me, she will conjure up these skeletons. And that's a good thing. These are, without a doubt, the weakest of the enemies that she can conjure up. If you're unlucky, then she will conjure up this huge armored knight guy with a huge fucking mace, and this guy's powerful and he's got a lot of health. And although I by no means think it's impossible to do it if she conjures that guy up, if she does conjure him up, you're gonna have a hell of a lot harder time trying to beat her, and chances are you're gonna die. I know that I sure as hell did the first bunch of times I fought her. So, if she conjures up skeletons instead, then you're lucky. Then you know you've got a chance of beating her, because the skeletons are no problem. You can take them down with a few hits. But if she conjures up a big guy, you can pretty much guarantee you've lost the fight already. Okay, so what you actually want to do is you want to alternate. First, you want to keep attacking Elena. You want to always stay on the move, because like I said earlier, she conjures up those fireballs. You don't want to stay still for too long, because they will hit you. Keep circling around her, swiping through her attacks. Whenever she swings her weapon to attack you, roll through it and get some damn good hits in. When she does conjure up the skeletons, focus your time and energy on getting rid of them first. Don't try and attack her, because these skeletons will sneak up on you and they will gang up on you. So make sure you take out the skeletons before going back to Elena. And I'm not gonna lie, this is not an easy battle. She also has these magic attacks here where she shoots these magic orbs at you. And although these do hit hard, in my opinion, they're not too hard to dodge. So, without a doubt, the most dangerous move she has is the fireball. If you can master dodging that, then you shouldn't really have any trouble with this boss. Assuming, of course, that she doesn't conjure up a big guy. If she does, you're pretty much dead. So, remember, stay as close to her as you can. Roll through her attacks when she swipes at you, and always take out the reinforcement straight away when she conjures them before you go back to taking out Elena. And like I said, I'm not going to say this fight's easy, because it isn't. It probably will take you a few attempts. But if you stick to these tips and advice, you should be able to do this fight no problem. Okay, so the next boss I took on was Sinh the Slumbering Dragon, who takes place directly after Elena the Squalid Queen. Basically, as soon as you beat Elena, you go through a door, there's a bonfire there, and just opposite the bonfire is this next boss, so you basically have to take on 2 in a row. Now, the first piece of advice that I can give anyone who's taking on this guy is you need at least 2 fully upgraded weapons. For me personally, I took in 2 fully upgraded broadswords. The reason being is because broadswords are definitely my favoured weapon in this game. They're probably not the best, they're probably not the fanciest, but for my style of play, they're definitely the best. They're powerful, but they're also fast and light. Anyway, whatever weapon you decide to take into this fight, make sure you bring in a backup, fully upgraded. The reason being is because the armor on this dragon is so tough that the durability of your weapon will go down really fast when you hit him. And if you only take in 1 weapon for this fight, there's a good to, if not positive, chance that it's going to break. So you definitely want a backup weapon that you can switch if your weapon becomes too weak. You don't want it breaking on you. Okay, so now to the actual fight itself. This dragon is very hard and he's very fucking annoying. The reason he's so annoying is because it's impossible to predict what kind of fight you're going to have. If you're very unlucky, then he will just keep spamming his move where he flies up in the air, and obviously when he's up in the air you can't hit him. You have to just dodge his attacks while he's up there and wait for him to drop back down until you can fight him. If you are lucky, he won't really fly up that much. It's completely random. Okay, so while we're chipping away at this guy's health, how's about we flip that epic switch? Okay, so now on to the actual advice and tips for this boss. Like I said earlier, while he's up in the air, you will not be able to hit him. So while he's up in the air, focus on healing yourself if you need to, but make sure you stay away from his magic attacks that he'll breathe down at you. Sometimes he will shoot down some fire at you, other times he will just swipe directly at you. If he does swipe directly at you, roll forward through his attack and you should be able to dodge it no problem. Wait till he lands and then you can move in and get your attacks. Now again, this guy is very dangerous both on the ground and up in the air, so you don't want to get too greedy with your hits. Now, what I tried to do is when he landed, I tried to roll either to the side and get some hits on his wings, or I tried to roll behind him. Now, this is easier said than done, because like I said, it is impossible to know whether he's going to stay up in the air and when he's going to come down. So I'm not going to say it's easy. Mainly it all comes down to luck more than anything. However, if you try to stay to his side or roll underneath him, you should be able to get some damn good hits in before he can react. Okay, another good time to attack is when he stands up on his hind legs, he will breathe a fire move at. Now this fire move attacks directly in front of you, so if you go to the side, you'll be able to get some damn good hits in. Now, if you are behind him for too long after you've cut his tail off, he will turn his head to whatever side you're on and he will breathe a stream of fire at you. Now the best way to get around this is, if you're on his left hand side and he starts to breathe the fire, quickly roll to his right hand side. Again, he'll be locked in the animation and you can get some damn good hits in before he can switch sides. Now I'm not going to say this fight's easy, because mainly it all comes down to luck, whether he'll stay up in the air or not. But if you stick to those tips, you should have an easier time. Anyway guys, I think I'm going to end the video here. I hope these tips and tricks helped you out, and I'll see you next time.